chopping it up, chopping it up. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Gamer Show. I'm your host Fred Y. Alright, it's Friday, you know what time it is, man. We got another episode of Chopping It Up. Today we're going to be showing you how and what you need to build a gaming PC, man. We want people to get inside the PC gaming community, so we're going to show you everything that you need to know about hardware, software, and all that other stuff that you need. But before I start the stream, as always, I got some 411 to drop on you. You dig?
If you would like to know what hardware and software we use to do our streams, you need help with starting up a stream of your own, or if you would like to share play one of the many titles that we currently own, head over to the website, log in and become a member, and click on the live stream tab in the upper right hand corner. There you will find all the information that you need to know.
Alright folks, we got some stuff that happened earlier today, man. So forgive the stream. I was trying to do it on multi-platforms. If you're watching on Facebook, just go head over to the YouTube side, man, so y'all can enjoy the stream. But without further ado, let's go.
Testing, 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 testing.
I can hear something coming through. I'm actually on YouTube streaming. I will watch it.
Alright. Am I here? 2. Alright. Alright, 1, 2.
There we go. Yeah, your sound's coming through.
Alright, y'all. Y'all didn't hear all the y'all didn't hear everything that was going on, man. If you're watching on the Facebook side, man, please go to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there. My computer is just acting funny. I got my little cousin Diamond on the Facebook side. Let me go over here. YouTube. All right, so y'all, today we are teaching y'all or giving y'all everything that you need if you want to build a gaming PC. So let me go to my live stream and forward that to Facebook. Oh my God, I'm so blown. So let me go to my live stream. Okay, now I hit me repeating myself. Let me go here, share. All right, Facebook. All right, it's on Facebook, y'all. So just go to the link on Facebook, man. Head over to the YouTube page. I'm just discombobulated, man. It's a lot of stuff that's going on. But like I said, we're about to show y'all how to build a gaming PC, everything that you need. We're gonna go over motherboard, chassis, memory, um, power supply, um, everything that you need, right? So we're going to total all this up through Amazon, man, and we are Amazon affiliates, so we're going to put some links in there. And please, man, if y'all decide y'all want to do this build, please go to the links that we are going to provide you in the stream. All right, so who want to take it first? Let's go first with a
Now, we're gonna
case.
let you go first, bro. You got the you gonna do the big dog. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right,
This for them cats out there that's balling.
all right. So I'm gonna do like the you got your taxes, you got your tax check, and you just want to go balls to the walls. I'm gonna do that build. Quest, what build are you doing?
Well,
I'm at the low quest, so I
we
guess you
can
got
do a
mid.
mid-range build. You know,
Cool.
you just got your disability check.
He
And
had to
you're
go
trying to figure out how you're
disability.
going to build a PC.
All right, all
Yeah, you
right,
got some social security cats out there gonna feel some type of way about that, but it's all right. We'll be like,
okay. Hey,
okay.
what's up, Ma? All right. So I guess we just go in order, and everything that y'all recommend, just you're gonna have to send it to me, and I guess a group text, so I can then later post it after the video is
Yeah, I
done.
got an email for you, so you're good over this, and I got you
All
covered.
right. So email me all your stuff, all your links, Quest, and then email me all your links, Mark. So let's
Yeah.
start off, and let me try to go in order. Let's start off with the chassis or the case. Now, this is where all your good stuff is going to go inside of. This is your innards.
Mm.
The case that I recommend, because I also have this case too. Let me share my screen with y'all. Da, 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 da. All right, so y'all can see my screen now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go with the one that I like, right? It's the Thermotech Core P5 open air wall mount case. Now I do have this case, and um, it fits ITX, ATX, micro ATX, so it fits every every motherboard that you can possibly put in here. If you put like a smaller form factor, like a micro ATX or ITX case, then you're going to be wasting a lot of space. But the reason why I like this case, and y'all can see this, is it's an open air case, and when
I
you
like
put
that.
a lot of power in this stuff, yeah, I have it. It's like right back here. When you put a lot of stuff in these cases, you're going to need a lot of ventilation when you're talking about graphics cards, when you're talking about multiple hard drives and multiple graphics cards. So you're going to need a nice open air case. A lot of times when you build like these major big rigs, what happens is that the air gets trapped inside of your case, and that sometimes starts to do damage to your hardware. And a lot of people don't know that, intense heat or wherever you put case or whatever you put your stuff in, you're going to maybe cause damage to that. So I'm not trying to scare y'all into trying to get this case. But the retail price for this, you can get it for $124.99. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with that. But it's a nice case, man. Um,
Yeah,
I
it looks pretty nice. I guess how would you think that would fare as far as noise is concerned with all that open space like that? I
well
think that
we'll
would be an
we'll
issue.
we'll get to that. It's not going to be an issue. We'll get to that when we go further into the build. But you're going to like what I'm gonna do to it. It's something that I'm gonna recommend that I don't have yet that I need to get for this build. So my pick for your chassis or your case would be this Thermaltech Core P5. Now you don't have to go with this one. You can go with something else, but this is what I'm recommending. You can mount it on the wall. You can use it as a showpiece. You can use it, um, you know, it's a beautiful case. You don't necessarily have to mount it. You can't. It does come with legs, so you can just sit it down somewhere. But it's a beautiful case to display all your stuff. It's easy to get to. This fiberglass piece just screws off with these screws just right here, and it comes off, and you have easy access to your motherboard.
Hmm.
So the Thermo Core P5 Blackout Edition. I love Thermotech stuff, man. So
Cool.
that's my recommendation on the case. So who want to take it next?
Oh, I thought you was gonna break it all the way down, but yeah, all right,
Now we
go
gonna
ahead.
let's just go component by component.
All right, John, you gonna knock this next one
Well,
out?
what I'm going to do, since you guys already have the links, I haven't looked up anything, but let me just go through the components that you'll need for your PC.
You gonna do the whole thing? What's up, Ty?
I'm
That
just
that would be a that would be let's just I guess really let's just talk about it in general,
right.
kind of like what he's saying, what you're gonna need before we start kind of throwing because I guess we didn't really get a chance to have a production meeting about this. Is
Well,
that what we did?
what will
But
happen is that somebody sees the innards of a computer and they're going to get kind of scared because
yeah, no,
it's very
intimidated.
complicated.
So
In reality,
you want me to wrap it up with the rest of the stuff?
no. Let's just go ahead and discuss how to put one together, and then we can show the innards and the parts.
The options rather
Yeah,
to what you may want to try to do.
right.
Uh, okay,
Well, the first thing that like Fred said, the first thing you're going to need is a case. And cases come in all kinds of varieties. You can get small cases, you can get medium cases, you can get large cases. And
What's the YouTube side? Go ahead.
basically, you just need to choose the case that you are going to be able to put your parts in. That's basically how a case works.
and that is very important, John, because I've known family members that decided to do this on their own, and they ran out and they got a case, and then they went out and got all these other components, and stuff wasn't fitting. So that's very important.
Generally speaking, a mid case normally will fit most components for
Yep.
PC. Um, there are basic components that you need to make a PC work. You're going to need a the case, of course, that holds all your components. You're going to need a power supply. You're going to need a motherboard. You may need extra fans. Most cases come with fans already,
Yep.
but you may need some extra fans. You're going to need RAM for that motherboard.
Yep.
You're going to need hard drive.
Yep.
And you can have more than one hard drive. And then there are different types of hard drives that you can get.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little bit later, but you're going to need a hard drive. You're going to need, if you're going to do optical video or or listen to music through CDs, you're going to need to have some type of drive, be a Blu-ray drive or a CD drive or a disk drive. You're going to need a disk drive in order for you to do that.
And again, that's totally optional,
You
because at
don't
this
have
day
to
and
have
age, yeah, this day and age, no one is really doing that as much. That's why he can, he do. And when Fred showed that beautiful case he just displayed,
Yeah.
it looked like it wasn't built for that. It was built for to have no optical drive.
Yeah,
So
that's no optical drive can fit in
yeah,
Now, you also have different types of cooling systems. Generally speaking, most computer builders will use fans. But if you want to get a little fancy, you can buy radiators and tubes and do some type of liquid cooling. And that normally is for a more advanced builder. You don't want to build your first computer and have problems with getting liquid inside your computer, because that will totally ruin it.
yeah.
But there are all kinds of tutorials. We're going to give you the basics, but there are all kinds of tutorials on YouTube how to install these components. That's one of the great things about media these days. If there's knowledge that you need, you normally reach out and find it, especially on YouTube. But basically, once you get all your components together, you just follow. All the components normally come with directions, but you can just follow and install them based upon the directions. Um, Most motherboards will fit in a mid-case design. Um, if you want to go a little bit larger, you can. It depends on how many hard drives you want to put in that case and how big your video card's going to be. Video cards come in different sizes. So these are all the components that normally you would need for your computer. You want to take it from there, Mark?
Well, I mean, you pretty much hit it. I mean, ultimately, what it really is going to boil down to kind of sum this up, and then we can start back talking about the things that are beautiful about having a lot of money to build a beautiful monstrosity. But ultimately, it's going to come down to really what are you trying to accomplish as a PC gamer? Do you want to be, because again, the more you put in, I take it that the more you're going to get out of your PC. If you build a low end, you gotta have to your expectations have to be low. You build a mid range computer, then you're gonna get some decent stuff going on. If we look at what Fred is going to show you, then we're definitely in the range of high end graphics. I think with the mid range, you can get some VR going, but essentially, with the high end, you're going to be able to really enjoy a lot of different mediums as far as what you can do with your PC. And what we're trying to do here is trying to give you those options of where you really want to be as a gamer, and that's got to be your choice and what you can afford. Fred?
I want to also add one other thing that I didn't
Yeah.
get to. Um, you have two types of processors normally in a PC. You have the central processing unit, which is actually the calculator and the brains of the computer, and you have a graphical processing unit. The CPU comes in different powers, just like the GPU does. The CPU is normally going to be included in your motherboard that you order, so you don't really have to worry about that. You just need to get the proper size CPU, as Mark was saying, as far as what type of gaming you want to do. They normally range from, if you're going on the Intel side, they normally range from an i3 processor up to an i7, or they have i8s and i9s now.
Yeah.
But those are the higher end graphic processors. And as you go over the sevens, seven is a pretty powerful processor. But as you go over the sevens, you're going to pay for that extra power. That i8 and that i9 is not going to be cheap.
No, it's not.
On the graphics card end, you normally will start at a 10 30 graphics card and go on up to a 1080. And 1080 is normally the high end for a graphics card. Most games are going to be highly dependent on your graphics card, and secondary would be your CPU. If you're going to do high-end graphics and high-end games, you're normally going to have to get at least a i5 processor
Yep.
and at least a 1060 graphics card
Yep.
on the NVIDIA side.
I agree.
So that's it.
This would be you know what, I was just sitting up here thinking while I was listening to John. Go ahead on and bring your screen up, and I guess to as instead of us all breaking it down, you could just go through it as you search Amazon. You know what I'm saying?
All
Because
right.
essentially all we're going to do is just like they would do. Whoever is trying to do this, we could look at the graphics cards, and we could look at the cases and say, okay, this is the high end, this is the mid, and this is the low. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And you could just pull that up, and while we're talking through it and we're trying to explain the differences, we can just keep searching and flipping through what we would possibly consider getting, with the money that we have to spend.
Okay. All right.
And we
So
were
let
just
me
talking
let
about
me
the cases. So
let me share my
bring that
screen
case back
again.
up because that thing got me feeling some type of I want to spend some money ish. And that thing was beautiful. I love that. That right there is my next purchase. It's
Yeah,
automatic.
it's I mean it's well worth it, man.
That looks
Um,
good. That's gonna be in my YouTube studio. Done.
all right.
Okay,
So
guys, you just get the case. You don't get all that nice.
all right.
I
Yeah,
know.
you
I
just
know.
you just get the case. It's just the case.
It's just
All
the
right.
case. Not all that good looking stuff that's inside.
So let's move from the case itself. It's a nice case, man. I'm telling you, I have it. I just need to get.
I'm sorry. Did you say you have that case?
Yeah, it's right here.
Oh,
It's
Where do
okay.
you live? Where do you live, Fred?
Yeah, we're gonna have to come over there and do a kick though.
yeah.
Uh,
I have that. All my cases are Thermotech. I have the snow the Snow White Thermotech case, and
mhm.
the computer I'm using to do the stream. I have it's the bigger version of that. So I mean, I love Thermotech.
Okay.
Thermotake. I'm sorry.
Need to make sure we reach out to Thermal Tech so we can get
Yeah.
some free stuff. But go ahead. Uh,
All right. All right. So now let's look at motherboards. Now,
well,
um,
before we do that, hold on, Fred. I'm sorry. Before we do that, that was the high end on the
this is
cases,
the
right?
high end. I'm doing
Let's
high end.
let's. All right. Yeah. Well, no, we're gonna do it all together. Remember?
Oh,
Just
okay.
let's just go ahead. We're gonna go through the cases. Let's just go ahead and try to find something that's a little bit more reasonable for someone that's not really looking. Which $124 doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like a lot to me, but that could be a lot, to someone else, or maybe they don't want to have all this.
I just sent you guys
this
a link to the case that I have, which is very reasonable. And it looks very nice.
All right. Would you take it and you let them know what case that you're talking about? You're not to share your screen on this, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not sharing the screen at this point.
All
Hold on.
right. So go ahead and let them know um, what the case is, how much it is.
Okay,
Let's see.
let me
It
see
looks
if I
like
can pull
John
this
just
up.
sent it, but you just cut and pasted it in there, right, John?
Yeah, I just cut and pasted it.
All right, I might be able to do a search for you if you haven't.
Okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah, give me a second, and then I'll share my screen. Hold on.
And one of the things that I forgot to mention that your power leads and all that stuff is on the side. You notice you don't see any hard drives on this case. That's because the hard drives are actually inside the frame itself. So this thing takes about three hard drives that you can put in it. And
Hmm.
if you look behind this liquid cooler, it looks like there's a solid state hard drive right there. But I'll get into that a little bit more. So you can actually have multiple hard drives in this, and it's so clean that you can't tell, what I'm saying, where are the hard drives at because they're hidden inside the case itself. But you do have that one solid state hard drive right there. But you don't get all this; you just get the case. That's what it looks like.
All right, I'm actually sharing my screen right now, and this is the case that John
All right,
currently
hold up. Let me.
is using.
All right, go ahead.
All right, and
This
uh,
case is very well built. It's very sleek, as you can see.
yeah,
Um, it has multiple USB inputs, not only on the motherboard, but if you look on the top of the unit, you
yeah,
have
that's what
plenty
we're
of
looking
inputs
right
on
now.
top of the unit also for USB devices.
Look like it's right there.
Yeah,
You talking about right here?
yeah, right there on the top.
Okay,
You
cool.
even have the USB 3.0 there that are there, and a little bit further up, you'll see jack for a headphone,
Yeah,
and it's really a nice case.
awesome.
It does come with some lighting. Um, you can add lighting to it. It does have a side window, and it's just a very nice case. I've had it for a couple of years, and I'm very pleased with it.
Cool. And everybody, we will have links in the description for the products that
And
we
there
are
are
showing here
multiple
today.
colors. If you could show them the multiple colors marked there, if you go up a
All
little bit
right.
further, you'll see that there are different colors for this case, depending
Oh,
on your
okay.
taste.
That red is sleek.
It is. It looks very nice.
Everything I have is white in my room, so that would probably be the one I would take right there. Oh, wait a minute. That white and blue is nice too.
And
A
if you
nice
look
case.
at it, it looks a lot like the older Alienware type
You took
PCs.
the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say that earlier, that it has an Alienware type of aesthetic to it. Kind of gives it that old Alienware look to it. That's cool. Oh, it look. We have a better view of the over the
Yeah.
top.
Hmm.
Nice case.
Very nice case.
Nice case. All right, Fred.
All right, so we got my suggestion for a case. We have Quest or John. All right, we have John selection for a case.
It's
Now,
Johnny Quest, man.
Johnny Quest. Yeah, I like that.
and, now we need marks. So
Yeah, I got a little case up here. I'm not my case is not up here. This is again. You got your company up here, man. They seem like they make all the cases. Thermal tape.
yeah,
So this is a case that costs $49. And again, I want to say this is a mid range, yeah. And this seems again, it has that Alienware type feel to it, very sleek. If you're not looking to spend too much money, but looks like you could get some stuff in there. It almost looks similar to my case, but might be a little bit bigger. You see, you have your connections on the front of this case. Uh, but yeah, if you just, again, like we were saying, mid range is probably going to be the way to go. That'll give you some room to expand if you need to. But really, basically, this is going to be based on what you like and what you want in a case, what you want it to look like. Because sometimes the cases, sometimes everybody wants their case to look different. With your lights and everything you have in there. So this is really your choice. We're just trying to help you understand the different types of cases, and yeah, and this is the one I chose for the low end side
Do
of
you have
things.
a picture of it, Mark? Because we don't see it.
Are y'all not looking at that?
No.
now you gotta
Wow,
share your
I'm
screen.
I'm over here talking, and I'm thinking y'all could see that.
Oh yeah,
I apologize.
that's very nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I appreciate somebody telling me I'm over here talking, and I.
That one's very similar to the one that I have.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it's just on the front of it right here. So, and looks like they have a white as well. Yeah, so that's pretty nice. Another mid range. Uh, so, and again, like we were saying, this is really based on your taste of cases, but this is a pretty nice case here.
It is very nice.
Yeah. All right. Y'all ready? Fred, you ready to move on to the next component, sir?
Yeah.
All right.
So let's go with the motherboard. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick.
while Fred is doing that, normally for PC gaming, you have two major manufacturers or backers of motherboards. You have AMD and you have Intel. And depending on which way you want to build, they're both very good companies. The more popular normally would be Intel, but AMD is a very good company also.
Yeah.
Now I'm more Intel because I just ran into a lot of problems with using AMD processors, and it's just that I prefer Intel over AMD. Although that Ryzen card I hear is a beast, so
Mm.
there's there's a motherboard here. Now I don't have this one. I have the Asus motherboard, um, and I love their stuff. Now, when you're picking a motherboard, you need to determine it's really important that you need to know what socket type that you're getting. Now, all
Mm.
these you see up here where I'm pointing where it says LEG 1151. Well, that's really important because when you go out to get your processor, if the motherboard doesn't come with that, you have to make sure that that processor fits that motherboard. A lot of times people just pick up a processor and they don't know that, hey, this processor would not fit this board. You can get an i7, and the i7 comes in different socket sets, 2011, 1151, a couple of other ones. But if that socket, if that processor does not fit that socket, you're going to be a sad camper. And what I'm trying to find right now, because I don't see the motherboard that I have. A lot of motherboards now they come pre-jumped, and what I mean by pre-jumped is that you can turn on the motherboard without hooking it up to the motherboard. So you put it on the test bench, and before you put everything and tie it down and screw it down to the motherboard, it actually has a button on it that allows you to fire that thing up. And if it doesn't fire up, then you know that something is missing, something is not really hooked up. But it'll give you error codes instead of the beeps, and then the motherboard manual will usually tell you what that means, if it's a RAM issue, if it's a processor issue, if it's any type of issue. So I'm looking for a motherboard that has that, and this one doesn't seem to have it. Uh, and Gigabit is I like their stuff too.
Mm.
Um, and I would recommend to get a motherboard that has a USB-C type port on it. Um,
That's
let's
where
see.
everything is going right now. So
Hopefully this is it. Uh, this is the Pro. I can't see anything. Okay, well, let me go back to the initial one that I picked. Okay, so this one is a 1151 socket set. So it takes an Intel. Is it an Intel processor? Let me make sure. And that you have to also be aware of too. You have to make sure it's either Intel or AMD, and then the RAM size, which here is DDR4, USB-C type, and this is mounted overall of it. You see the USB-C type right here. You see two USB 3.0 ports. You have an additional one here. So you have a total of 5 USB 3.0 ports. And it is Intel by this marker right here. So let's look down here and see if this one doesn't have the jumper. Usually it'll be like a little small LCD screen, and it'll have a button right on the side of it. But this one doesn't have it. This has the RGB lighting. It has one, two, has two full-size PCI Express card slots, so you can put two graphics card in here if you want it, and then it has these mini uh, PCI Express. I don't see anything for M.dot drive. Um, And what's nice about getting a motherboard with an M.dot drive is that you can put your operating system on that M.dot drive to kind of
Hey, Fred,
save space.
can we go back to that screen? I want you to explain to the folks where to put your different components
All
because
right,
you started, but
Yeah,
just
and what's an M.dot drive for people that don't know?
all right. Let me
Because
see,
you're
cause
getting real technical over here. These cats, you're gonna scare them off. They're like, wait a minute, man, this
all
guy
right.
trying. I ain't
So
trying to
no,
hack NASA. You know what I'm
we
saying?
we just giving y'all the components, recommendation components. Now this one
Mm.
doesn't have it, and sorry for my banter. Um, so like I said, these are usually where your video cards go. These ports right here, and let's see, this is where your RAM goes, your memory. This part right here, that's where your processor will go. And these are the power connections right here. That's one right here. Let
the
me see.
processor is your CPU, right?
Yeah, processors is a CPU.
Yep.
This is your other main power supply. Right here are your COM ports. Now, when you get your motherboard, most of these will be tagged for you, so you know where to put them at. The
I'm
only
glad.
the only
I'm glad
difficult
you said that.
The only difficult thing is when you get down here to these connections, like the USB 3.0 connections. But luckily, they are already in those cases where it's impossible for you to go wrong with it. Um,
Yeah.
these are your power source, your power leads, and all that other stuff. Your CMOS battery that keeps your time clock and all that other important information while your PC is off. And now I'm looking for. I don't see the SATA drives. Oh, there they are, right here. If you look right here, it looks like it's what
Yeah, I
two,
see them on
four,
the side
six,
right there. Yeah.
six. Now you can have six different SATA components. So you can have six different hard drives. That's if your uh, the case supplies that allow you to do that. But this is a different angle of it. But
And just so you guys know, I'm sorry, Fred. Just so
mm,
you guys know, this stuff may seem like we're talking about a lot here, but a lot of this stuff is plug and play. You know, it's not like it was when we were back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of things are plug. You just have to make sure you get the right components to fit the right component. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So your motherboard, you need to make sure you have the right, like you said, you need to have the right CPU to fit your motherboard, and you need to make sure you have PCI. You don't have this, and once you make sure everything works together, then it's all really plug and play. You can't really go too wrong with this. It's not that difficult. You just got to make sure you get the right stuff. And if you're ever confused about what you need to get, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. You could always reach Fred, myself, John on the helpline to try to help you out with that. Or when you go to Fry's or any type of store you go to buy it, they'll be able to also direct you in the right direction. So don't feel intimidated. We're just giving you a little bit more information than you're probably gonna need. Trust me,
now
because it's not that
there's
difficult.
another route that you can go. You can get a pre-built computer, but I would advise you to continue to listen to us because
Yeah,
there are going to be times where you may have to go into that computer and you may have to identify what you need to replace or to upgrade. And
mm.
it's a great opportunity for you to see where everything goes.
yeah. And Fred, would
And
you consider this motherboard a high end, or it's just because I mean I've been looking at some prices, and motherboards don't seem like they're that expensive. It's just when you
no,
grab that processor and pop it in there
it
is when.
it really been depends on how much you can uh, overclocking when you get your processor. It depends
Mhm.
on how many SATA slots that you have, depending on how many of these PCI Express card slots that you have. It
Mhm.
depends on if you have M.dot drive. Now, an M.dot drive, like I said before, it is just a hard drive. But the motherboards that I see on Amazon, I don't see them having an M.dot drive. So I'm not going to focus too much on that because I don't want y'all to get discouraged
So,
on
so
your build.
basically, what is a motherboard? What does a motherboard do? What is it?
Well, your motherboard is the brains and everything because it holds all the components. It Your motherboard is the manager, right? If I can say that, it's the manager,
It's
and
mama.
all the peripherals are the employees. So
Yeah,
you
it's
have the
mama.
manager telling everybody what to do and keeping things in order. So that, to me, in lame's term, that's what a motherboard is. I know it's a more technical description of that, but that's basically what it is. You can't go nowhere, or you have to start your build with the motherboard and case. That's the most two important things that you need to start off your build with is the motherboard and the chassis or the case or whatever they want to call it. But
Yeah.
this is your motherboard is the ultimate thing that you need to get.
Yeah,
Um,
you can do the motherboard without the case. You still you gonna need that motherboard. You know?
and let's go over
Like you were saying earlier.
some stuff here. On the back of it, you have your sound inputs. So you have your earphone jack, you have your line in, line out. You have an Ethernet port right here. You have an optical port right here. Now the I don't know too many people that use optical, but you can run that one cable to
Yeah.
a sound system, and you can have like Dolby digital sound or whatever. Um,
Yeah. I have a Bose hooked to that, so yeah.
and here's your
Okay.
USB ports. This
So
is the USB C type port. It's a faster transfer rate than USB 3.0. And these are your onboard graphic cards right here. This is DVI and this is HDMI. This everybody knows is either a keyboard or mouse. I don't even know if they still sell these P2 keyboard and
No,
mouse
it
hookups.
look like that's just an option right there.
And
'Cause
that's your other USB 3.0. But I would recommend getting this. I think it's pretty cool. Um,
I might want to add to that, Fred, that if you've ever built a piece of furniture, you know how complicated it can be when you get the instructions to build one. To
yeah,
be honest with you, once you get a little accustomed to it, adding components and taking components from a PC is much easier than putting together a piece of furniture.
this is true.
So,
Trust me, I would know.
yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, it's just getting the basic understanding as to what goes where. It's like Mark said, it's plug and play. You just need to make sure that you match up the proper components with the motherboard. And the
Mm,
motherboard, when you go to purchase it, you will actually be able to research and find out what that motherboard accepts as far
exactly.
as what type of CPU, which is the central processing unit that Fred showed you where that went, and um, the GPU is something that you they're universal. So as long as you have a slot for your GPU, normally that GPU will work. So the big thing is matching up your RAM, which Fred showed you where that went, your RAM and your CPU with your motherboard. Those things have to match.
and plus, it has this RGB lighting on it. So with that open air case, you can start to display it, and I believe that you can change up the colors on this. So it's not just exclusively red. I believe that you can change up different colors on it to either match your decorum or just a mood. You want to change it to green or blue or whatever. You can do that as well. So this motherboard I recommend. So you're starting this at 149 bucks. Um, there are some stuff that's cheaper, but I just like the way that this motherboard looks. I like the cosmetics. Oh yeah, and the N dot drive. This is what I was talking about. There it is, right there. If you look, let me right here. Okay, you see these three holes? This is where your M dot drive goes right here, and I didn't see that, but that's I think it's M dot two drive, but this is where it's just another hard drive. but it's a smaller capacity hard drive. So you may get like 512 gigs of hard drive space. But you can put your M.2 drive in there, put your operating system on that, and you free up your SATA ports. And let me just go real quick to an M.2 drive. And okay, so this is what they look like.
Oh, yeah. And they normally on the back sometimes. Well, when I've seen they kind of plug in the back there.
So they come in different lengths. So those screw holes in there, it comes. You can fit. You don't have to worry. So you can buy one if it's, you don't have to worry about it being too short, too long. But this, what is this? This is 250 gigs, right? And that's what that M dot drive looks like. So you get that, and let me just. This is 99 bucks. I'm just going to add that for S and giggles. And let's go back to the motherboard. Now, you will put this in M dot drive inside. You will put that right here. And see, like I said, these three different holes. The M dot drive goes right here. That
Yeah.
slot right there. That's where it slides in. And your motherboard will come with all the accessories for you to screw it down and tie it down and everything like that. And what's great about that is when you put your graphics card in here, it doesn't take up that space. So I would recommend you getting that hard drive space. But we'll go over a recommendation for another hard drive. But I would recommend you would get that hard drives plus the M.2 drive. So just to put your operating system on. So I took a long enough. Mark and Quest. So
No. Hey, bro, you're doing an awesome job. We just gonna let you narrate this. So let's just move on to the next component because you broke it down, and we'll chime in as we go. Because essentially, I mean, if you're ready to build a PC, at this point, you're kind of going to get an understanding as we go along, what you want and what you can afford. What we're trying to do here, really, and what I'm starting to the feeling I'm getting from this stream is that we're just breaking it down as a collective of what we feel is I guess kind of like a not a tutorial, but a breakdown of what you need. And then from a price standpoint, you kind of can get to understand, okay, I know if I have all this, that's going to be this. And if I just go something more smaller, dumbed down a little bit, it's going to be less and it's going to be inexpensive. So let's just move on because we already broke down the case. We broke down the motherboard. Fred has already let us know that those are the two most important components. Next is going to be the processor. So, Fred, why don't you go ahead and pop on the processor and see what we got out there? Because we talked about, John talked about an i3. We got the 5, we got 7, we got the 8s and the 9s, which the 8s and the 9s, I don't even think we should talk about at this point because they're really
they're
expensive.
really, really expensive.
So let's look at a 5 because I think if you're serious about gaming, I think 5 is where you should be, in my opinion. Because with a 5, you can run some VR stuff, you can run some games, get some good FPSs off some games, which with a cool graphics card, you can do some pretty good things with an i5. So let's look at some options on i5 real quick.
All right. So right here, like I said, when you choosing your processor, right, or your they call it a processor or a CPU. So don't get scared. Either processor, CPU, it's the same thing. Tomato, tomato. All right. So you need to find that socket set that's going to fit inside your motherboard. So usually I would just type in what i5. I would I would go with an i7 personally. Um, Now this is the eighth generation, and if we remember, it was 1151 socket set. So it would usually say it right here. So that motherboard would definitely fit a seventh generation, eighth generation socket type. Um, you just have to be careful. Um, some of these processors, they'll have like quad core, 8 core, 12 core. You don't really need, if you're going balls to the walls, I would just say, okay, get the one with the most cores in it, and that's usually you'll have better game. More cores, more is better, right? So let's just take a look at this one. And I don't have a i5 processor in any of my builds. All my builds have i7s, but just for this, let's look at this. And this is going to run you about 194 bucks. And let's look at some specifications of this processor. If we can find anything.
There we go.
Got to pass it.
There, Fred, right?
Right there.
Okay.
Like they're just giving
Processor count. This is a four core, is what I'm seeing. 4 core.
Yeah.
Processor count. Now you can get. I mean, you can get away with the i5 processor, right? Don't do an i3 because you'll be terribly disappointed. My Alienware Alpha, when I got it, it had an i3 processor in there. I upgraded to an i7, and it's working fantastically. So that's basically it. Your processor, just make sure that your processor is the same socket type as your motherboard. If it's not, then you're going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
It just won't work.
Yeah.
It's
simple.
It's not going to fit, and you're going to bend some pins inside of that housing, and you're going to be really mad. So
you're going to be praying you can return it. That's what you're going to be doing.
And they're not going to let you.
No.
They're not going to let you. So, and these are the Ryzen AMD cards right here.
Like you got to show the AMD, even though I'm not into AMD,
yeah,
but
I'm not either at all. Now, if you get an AMD motherboard, if that's your preference, then I'm honestly tell you, I don't know too much about AMDs and the socket sets and all that other stuff because I generally gravitate towards Intel hardware. So I can't tell you anything about AMD. I just heard that it's a beast. You know what I'm saying? And generally, AMD processors are a lot cheaper than Intel processors.
Yeah.
But they're more powerful. Some of them. These Ryzen cards are great from what I heard, but I just don't, I just personally don't trust it. I might do a Ryzen build one day, but for right now, man, I love my Intel.
John, what you running, John?
I always do Intel now. I did do AMD graphics card a few years ago, and I liked it, but I like the effects of the graphics cards, from Intel. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
And,
the one thing is that a lot of games on the boot up screen, you'll see a lot of them say support NVIDIA and Intel. A lot of these games that support that does not support the Ryzen cards, and it just makes it really difficult. It makes it not compatible when you put a AMD card in there and you have a Intel graphics card. Is just, you don't want to mix and match, man. We'll go over the graphics cards later, but if you want to go Intel, go NVIDIA. If you want to go AMD, go Radeon. If I'm pronouncing that right.
Radeon, you're right.
Yeah.
So now we went over the motherboard. Does anybody else got anything?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, if you get back to that, the processor, the box looks a lot bigger than the processor. The processor is relatively small.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me show y'all what a processor looks like. Hold on.
And that processor is going to basically clamp right down it can only fit in that motherboard one way. And you just match up the pins, and then there's normally a sleeve that you just pull right down over the processor, and there you go. You just plug it right in, just like you plug something into a wall.
Okay. This this is for my other build. This is an i7 processor. This is what the processor looks like. Uh,
You gotta bring it up,
Yeah,
Fred.
we're not seeing anything, Fred.
oh,
You gotta
Stop sharing your screen.
hold up.
still sharing your screen, Fred.
Okay. So this is what your average processor looks like. This
Wrong camera.
No, no, no. He's in the right camera. Yeah, we're on Google.
There we go.
Yeah, you just had one of them laying around, huh,
oh
Fred?
yeah.
Turn
Actually,
it, turn
I
it over so you can see the other side too, Fred. The side
Yeah,
that
he's
goes
trying to
on.
show the pins. Yeah.
so this is what the back of it looks like.
What's that? An i7?
Yeah, this is the i7 8 core processor.
Wow.
Hey, Fred, if you could just leave that on the table and give me your address.
I mean, you know.
And this is a 1151 socket type processor.
Cool.
So it comes in a big box, like John said, but
Well, I think it
it's
don't doesn't it? It comes with a fan, right?
no.
It comes with what does it come with? Some
Some
of them come with fans.
some of them come with fans, and
Yeah.
some of them don't.
Okay.
But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a fan with it.
Well, since we're talking about the processor, let's look at some fans. If it doesn't come with a fan, I think mine came with a fan.
All right, let me share my screen again.
And then I guess we could talk about what Quest was talking about as far as liquid cool, if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. All right, share the screen.
I hate to eat on these streams, but I'm hungry.
You and me both. All right, y'all can see that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, first, I'm gonna go with what I recommend for my build. Um, Now that case that I have, now I don't have this yet. I do not have this yet, but I need to get this. The problem with that case is that a lot of radiators that I got, the tubing is too short to go from the radiator to the processor. So I have a couple of water cooling processor fans in here that I can't use. I think I'm gonna use that on my next build. But this is universal. This is going to fit AMD processors. It's going to fit Intel processors. But you just have to make sure that it does that. Now it comes with all this stuff right here. The
Hmm.
guardrails, the fans, and most of these are RGB lighting, and it comes with the different socket types right here. And the best thing about you asked me about the whisper quiet, how quiet it is. Okay, when
Yeah.
you're dealing with liquid cooling, the only noise that you hear is from that fan, and the fan does not speed up in RPMs a lot because that liquid is cooling that processor. It's touching that brass, and that brass is touching the processor, and it's making it very cool. And I seldomly hear anything from my streaming PC. Seldomly hear anything because it's liquid cool. And the nice thing about liquid cooling is that you can daisy chain from your processor to your graphics card, and you can have both of those cool because a lot of, especially the 1080s, they have custom water blocks that you can find just about anywhere. You just have to find your specific brand of 1080, and you
Mm.
can get you a custom built water cooler. So it comes with everything that you need, and there's two different types here. There's one with the tubing and the flex tubing, and there's one with the hard tubing. I would recommend not to get the hard tubing because you have to use a heat gun for that to bend that tubing. And if you bend it too much, it's going to crack on you. Then you have to go back out there get another tubing. This is just
Mm.
regular old tubing you can probably get from a hardware store or something like that.
Yeah, I use that type of tubing at work
And
for velocity pressure. So.
it you can get it. The only
Yeah.
bad thing about liquid cooling is that every, I think, 6 months you're going to have to drain this system out. So I mean, but it's worth doing. But it leaves your computer real quiet. It lets you max out the settings on your computers, because once you max out the setting on your computers, your fan starts to increase. It starts to get hot, starts to get real hot, and liquid cooling takes care of that problem. So
Every and every 6 months you have to drain it, huh?
yeah, every 6 months you have to drain it. That's the only sad part about it.
Like
And
cleaning a fish tank, huh?
yeah, and you can put it's certain dye that you can put in here, and make sure that the motherboard that you get has a water cooling fan module on it, because not all motherboards have the water cooling, but the power supply. But the water cooling here, for the motherboard that I chose, it does have that power supply to run that. And with that
Mm.
open air case, you don't need a whole bunch of fans, because a whole bunch of fans makes a lot of noise. But
Yeah.
this is the liquid cooling case, and for that, you would you would definitely have to get a liquid cooling case for the build that I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I mean, you got to make it look like, because it looks wonderful with the liquid cool
so
uh,
let's go over
deal
to
on
a
there.
stock cooling fan.
Yeah, there we go. Is
You
those
know,
glasses prescribed?
yeah, I gotta have tint in all my glasses because the lighting mess with my
Oh,
eyes. Um, so with these type of cases, right? I mean, with these type of fans, you have two different types, right? You have a low
mm,
profile, and then you have a standard case fan. And what this does is, if you're building a like an Xbox type build, um, gaming system, you're going to need a low profile case because it's real short
hmm.
and it fits in the case.
So
These,
this is for the small cases, the one that you
yeah,
just showed. This high powered LGA 11. I said 115. The one right there in the middle,
right,
$14. That's the one that sits over your CPU, right?
yeah. This is the one that sits over the CPU, but
Okay.
notice that this says 1150, so it's not going to work on that particular motherboard. You'd have to find a fan that's 1150. What did I say? 1151.
Well, yeah, it has that. It says it works on a
Oh, what did
1150,
I put in here?
1151, 1155, 1156. So that'll work.
So let me put 1151. And these are the higher fans and stuff like that. That's if your case is tall enough to fit this stuff.
Yeah.
So um, you can't, because like I said, I ran into a problem with that case that I have now, because a
Hmm.
lot of the liquid cooling stuff that I had, the tubes are they're not long enough. So I would have to get a custom case. But these right here, like I have this stock case on my gaming rig and that rig back there, but I'm gonna change that. I am gonna get that liquid cooling thing. But if you just wanted something like a mid rig case or whatever, you would get
Hmm.
something like this stock fan, and it's telling you right here that if it's an i3, i5, i7, and it tells you all the socket sets it support: 1156, 1155, 1151, 1150. So this will be a fan that you would get. Now, I'm gonna tell you, when you're running games at the max, you're going to hear a lot of noise from this fan. And trust me, because I have this fan in my gaming PC, which just conked out on me today. Um, but oh man, I'm so pissed.
Unfortunately, unfortunately,
But
we all feel for you, bro.
this is a fan that you can get. Just keep it well ventilated, and it will work for you. If you put it in a place that's not well ventilated, then you're going to have a extremely short lifespan for this fan. extremely short. But you can get away with this um, on any build. Just stack your chips up for if you want to do water cooling. But if you want to come out the gate, you got a 1080 Ti or 1080 whatever, and you need to cool that processor that you got. This would work just as good as any other fan would, and it's only $25 on Amazon. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my shopping basket. And please, y'all, remember all the stuff that we recommend to y'all. If you are going to get this stuff, just click on the links. It's going to help us out tremendously. It's going to help the channel out, and we appreciate that. Let me not go too fast.
Hey Fred, don't forget to show them the closed system, because you showed them the high end, which is the dye liquid, then you showed them the low end, which is the one that sits on the CPU, and then they also have a mid where it's a closed system.
What you talk about,
You
the
know what I'm
CPU fan?
Yes, sir. The one where it sits over. Let me see if I can share my screen here.
All right, let me switch it to you.
Hold on. Oh, I gotta find my deal here. There we go. Share my screen. There we go.
Now
All
that's
right, you
one of
see
the
it?
cooling fans that I have.
Yeah, I got that one as well. I don't have this one, but I have a system similar to that.
Mm. Now
So this would be
those
as
are the
mid.
closed loop radiator fans.
Yeah, closed loop, exactly. And these are the ones you could get. This is the mid level cooling system. So just wanted to give them another option. So they have three options
And they work
as
just as
to,
great, man. They work
yeah,
good.
it's
Is
been
that
in my system for about 3 years. I have no problems. So pretty good.
just the only problem is with the couple of cases that I have, it just won't. I don't I don't have enough room in my gaming PC and my big boy PC to put that thing in there. I just don't have that room.
Okay. Yeah, I was able to squeeze it in there. And
Now,
it worked.
now, one thing that I wanted to add is that to max out a game as far as graphically, you don't necessarily have to. It just depends on what resolution you want to use. But most gamers are gaming at 1080p,
Mm.
Yeah.
and uh, that for most people is very satisfactory. That's a very sharp image. It shows a lot of graphic detail, and people are pretty satisfied with that. 4K, if you want to go really high end and buy a 4K monitor and all that, it's going to cost you. And I don't know if it's going to really be that beneficial. So you don't really need to have an i7 processor, a 1080 Ti, and all that, unless you're going to be building a machine that will drive several monitors and 4K.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just buy too much, and you're wasting your money.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
what I've also done for those of you, this is we're basically giving you a guide as far as parts you can put in your PC. But I've also, and I'll shoot this over to Mark in a minute. I've also chose a pre-built PC for
Mm.
those of you who just want to get a PC, a nice PC that will do whatever you want it to do as far as gaming at 1080p, doing VR, things of that nature. And all you have to do is click on that link to buy it.
Mm.
And I'm looking at about $1,000 to $1,100 after these components are put together. Based upon what Fred has shown us, it will be probably over $1,000.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be over $1,000. But y'all just note this is for the people who want to go balls to the walls. If you got a lot of disposable cash, you got like maybe 5, 6 grand, and you just want to get the best. That's what that's what I'm giving you. John and Mark are giving you more reasonable stuff because not everybody has 6 grand to drop down. I wish I had 6 grand to drop down on anything right now, but not everybody has that type of money. So this is for the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, the dudes that's on the block doing what they do. If they want to get into PC gaming, this is for you. But you know, it's not for everybody. My PC build is not for everybody because not everybody can afford that. And I want to touch on something towards the end about self PCs. I mean, pre-built PCs. Just remind me, Quest, to chime in on that, and Mark, remind me on that.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right.
All right. So we have touched on the way of keeping your CPU cooled down so it won't overheat. You won't have a loud uh, system and you won't damage your CPU. Next, we're going to go over to, let's just go ahead and get the hard drives out the way.
Hard drive.
Uh, yes, sir. SSDs and the difference between that. And I know, Quest, you want to touch on this a little bit about
Well,
the
while Fred's
pros and
going
cons.
through it, you have the traditional hard drives, which are mechanical, that can go um, up to 8 terabytes. That's a lot of memory.
Man,
Um,
well, I need to buy me one of those, by the way. But yeah,
uh, and normally you can start out at about 500 gigabytes. So it normally goes from 500 gigabytes to about 8 terabytes, which 8 terabytes is a lot of memory. And normally that would be your traditional hard drive. You have solid, and that's not solid straight state. That's a mechanical hard drive, and that's what people have been using since computers started using hard drives, a mechanical hard drive. There's a hybrid. Well, let me start out with solid state hard drive. Those are the SSDs. There are no moving parts in those hard drives. But generally speaking, the price for memory for those is much higher than a mechanical hard drive.
Definitely.
Start coming down, and you don't have as much space normally on a solid state hard drive. Those are your SSDs. And then you have the hybrid type of hard drive, which is a combination of electronic and mechanical. And they all have their benefits and they all have their shortcomings. So Fred is going to give you a little idea as to what is what: a mechanical hard drive, a hybrid, and an SSD.
did you just type in 10 terabyte?
Now this is what I have. I actually have two of these right here. And Sony, if you're listening, I have no more room. I used up 10 terabytes of space on my PlayStation. That's 671 games, I believe, and I have no hard drive space. So this is the one I was telling you about that has the hub in front of it, the two USB 3.0 hubs that's in front of it.
And
Um,
so that we don't confuse you, there are two types of hard drives. There's an external hard drive that's plugged into a USB port,
mm,
and then there's the internal hard drive that you don't see that's inside your case.
right.
And Fred showing you an external hard drive.
So
Yeah,
that's the one I have for my PlayStation. All right. So let's go with let's start with mechanical hard drives first. Okay. So depending on how much stuff that you plan on downloading to your system, it's going to take a lot of space. Um, Games, if you're doing 4K gaming, you're going to use up a lot of space. And if you ever watch any of my streams on my PlayStation where I show you how much stuff I have on there, it's basically gone. Now, I want y'all to write this down real quick, right? Everybody that's watching the stream, I want you to write this down so you can kind of figure out where I'm going with this. Okay? 10 terabytes, right? All right. So 100, what is it? 100 megabytes, no, 100 gigs equals No, 1,000 gigs equals 1 terabyte, right?
Right.
And um, I forgot I had the calculations down, but just remember 1,000 gigs equals 1 terabyte. Now, when you do get these terabyte systems, you're not going to get the full terabyte. It's always going to say, for instance, like the 10 terabytes, right? It'll say 9 point something um, terabytes.
Something. Yeah.
I think we lost John. Is going to say like 9 point something, so it's not going to give you the full uh the the full capacity of it because the system is using some of that storage, or it might have some type of program that's in that, so you don't get the full terabyte. um, but when you're looking at downloading games and 4K gaming, that takes up a lot of space. And talking about SSD drives and hybrids, well, a 10 terabyte hard drive you see right here is $303, right? I think that's well worth the price because if you're getting into gaming, you're downloading Steam games, you're downloading VR games, you're downloading other type of games. Me myself, I have a whole lot of stuff. You got the MAME systems, the emulators, all that stuff is going to eat up your space. So me, I recommend I have like 3 different hard drives in one system to separate from Steam to arcade to other download games, right? So, and I'm running out of space because I have so many games that I'm still running out of space. So, what I recommend to you is to get a mechanical hard drive just to store your games because SSDs, although you can get 10 terabytes, you're going to be paying almost a mortgage to get that SSD drive. So I think the cheapest 10 terabyte hard drive I see right here is the Seagate. Seagate and Western Digital are, to me, two of the best hard drive companies. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put this in my basket briefly, and then we're gonna go back. No thanks. We're gonna go back and we're gonna look at SSD drives, right? All right. So
10
remember,
terabytes, man. That's awesome.
remember when I was saying the M.2 drive, right?
If you look at the screen though here that Fred has, you look at the prices for your hard drives. You can see a 1 terabyte hard drive here
Oh yeah.
is only $52.98. 1 terabyte is what normally is in a pre-built PC,
Mm.
Yeah.
and 1 terabyte will take care of most people's needs. Um, you know, up front, and you can always add an external hard drive, which aren't that expensive either. You don't necessarily have to start out with the largest hard drive. If you, as your needs grow, you can just expand it by doing an external or just adding another internal hard drive. But you don't have to go and get the biggest hard drive unless that's absolutely what you want.
And the good thing about SSDs is that if somebody bumps your PC, you don't have to worry about it. Well, at least I'm not going to say the CPU, but if somebody bumps your computer, you don't really necessarily have to worry about it because there's no mechanical parts in that. But when you get to these mechanical drives, you have these discs. They look like little CDs. They're spinning inside, and I've seen some people that got their PCs got bumped, and their computer has just messed up. And that's not my case today because the way I got my PC is nowhere, nobody's bumping it. I don't know what the heck went wrong with that joint. But
Yeah.
as you can see here, 250 gig hard drive, right? Is $74. And what do we say that you can get for $74 in a terabyte? Like 2 terabytes, right?
You can get about 2 terabytes for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, 50 gigs is $117, right?
That's
Now,
500 gigs.
500 gig, right? Now, I do currently have one of these. I do have one of them somewhere. I was trying to show y'all what it looks like. Um, Now, I got one by Kingston, and I use this because when I go out and I do events or something like that, I have a lot of Black Magic products.
Mm.
Now I forgot how much I paid for this. Now y'all can still see my screen, right?
We're looking at yeah, we're looking at your screen.
All right. So this is what SSD looks like. If
You got to turn it off. Yeah, you're gonna stop sharing the screen so we can see it.
oh, so that's my SSD drive, and this is 120 gigs. You see how small it is?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out are you building another PC over there because you got a lot of parts laying around.
Yeah, it's this one I just use for this Black Magic device that I'm planning on getting. So a lot of stuff I'm just future proofing myself.
Okay,
Because
cool.
when you do weddings and stuff like that, um, and you just let the camera run, that eats up a lot of space on your hard drive or your flash cards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with this, Black has some recording thing that I can stick into my rack system, and
Hmm.
I'm planning on using that. So a lot of my stuff is just future proof.
Okay, cool.
Um, so now the hybrid drives, I don't really know too much about because the only thing I know about is the SSDs and the
Mechanical.
mechanical drives. So Mark, why don't you take this lead on that one for the hybrid drives, and maybe
I'm
you and
not
Quest
taking.
can
I'm not gonna
explain
be
it.
able to take the lead on that because I have never used one. A hybrid. I've never tried that one before. I only have SSD and mechanical in my rig right now.
Hmm.
I don't know, John. You know anything about these hybrids? Have we lost John? I don't see his picture. He might be eating over there. You better not be eating, John.
I think he's still in here.
I think so, but his picture is gone. We didn't lose him, did we? While he's doing that, though, let me text him and see what's for eat because I'm hungry. I don't know what.
Well, I thought you wasn't supposed to ask.
No, I'm just gonna say when is it gonna be ready.
Oh,
I don't care what it is. I smell it. I smell it, but I am starving. Let's see. Let me just ask you what time is it gonna be ready? How long have we been streaming, Fred?
we've been streaming for I don't know.
Really?
Hold up. Let me go to the YouTube side. An hour and 24 minutes. For
Okay.
everybody watching on the YouTube side, man, please go over. I put the link in one of the comments. Go over to the YouTube channel, man. My PC, my gaming PC just went. Something happened, and I gotta do some work on it. And I was going to be able to stream to Periscope, Mixer, um, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time. But I should have left well enough alone, man. I'm so ticked off about that. Oh, we got John back.
No,
There you go.
I just actually had nature call, so I
Oh,
just
Oh, okay. We thought you were over there eating, John.
no, I actually, well, I did stop by the refrigerator and get a piece of pie. I can't lie.
Okay. Because yeah, my dinner is starting to get close to being ready here. Fred, let's try to streamline them real quick. I think we hit some of the main components. We talked about we talked about your case. We talked about your motherboard. We talked about your CPU. We talked about ways of keeping your CPU cool. We just talked about different type of hard drives. We didn't know. I don't know a lot about the hybrid hard drives, John. We didn't know if that was something you
They're
know
a
about.
combination. They are a combination of mechanical and electronic.
Okay.
So um, basically, it gives you a little bit more bang for your buck, but and it has the benefits of both. You know, a little bit faster than what a mechanical would be, a little bit slower than what a total solid state would be. So you know,
Okay.
it's a trade off, and the prices are somewhere in between the two.
Okay.
Um, for those Mark, I'm getting ready to send you a link to a pre-built system. I've dealt with this. This is actually on Amazon, but the company that manufactures it, I actually have bought from them, and I would never recommend something that I hadn't tried myself. This
Okay.
company is very good. So I'm going to go ahead and send that over to you now. This is a mid-range PC that will probably run just about everything that you would need for it to run at 1080p.
Okay. Because you know what, that is important for a lot of people. I think that like a lot of my buddies that I'm trying to get them into PC gaming, they are afraid of building because they just feel it's too difficult. Which no matter how many times we tell them that it's plug and play, some to a certain extent, they're still afraid. Uh, Sometimes if you feel that way, you may have to get a pre-built machine, and it's not all that bad. I think Fred wants to speak on that. He's probably not 100% sold on it. Any true gamer, I'm sorry, any true builder, a guy that loves to put his hands on his components and he wants to put it together. It's kind of like that guy that builds a car in a garage for 10 years. Uh, it's something about being a part of that and buying the components yourself that's a part of just the experience. But you can buy it. My first PC I bought, it was already pre-built. But then after I got over that part of it, I was ready to step it up. And I'm looking at it right now um, on my screen. I could show my screen real quick. This looks like a pretty good machine.
It's an i5 processor with a 1060 video card, which would play most games in VR with no
Okay.
problem.
Yeah, that looks good. Comes with a 120 gig SSD. Uh, yeah. And some like I was saying before, sometimes if you're not computer savvy and this is not what building PCs and all that, and you're afraid of doing all that, sometimes this is not a bad idea. You just kind of again need to know what you're looking for and what you want to get out of your computer, and you can get them and they're getting better at these pre-builds. I think a lot of companies out there are starting to put in good products. I was watching one YouTube guy. He was showing that there's a company out there that actually builds PCs for serious gamers, and a lot of their stuff is at MSRP. They're
Well,
not trying to get over
yeah,
on you. They're charging you just for the labor, but
right.
they're not double or they're not marking up the components.
But
So
one nice thing about this PC, if you look at it,
mhm.
it has a couple extra things that normally don't come with a pre-built PC. You have a 1 terabyte hard drive,
Yeah,
and you have a 120 gigabyte SSD. That's a solid state hard drive, and a lot of people
yeah,
um, just put their operating system on that, and it just makes the system so much faster. But you
yeah. That's what
normally
I'm doing.
don't get that along with a regular hard drive in the system. This
Yeah,
also has Wi-Fi, which you don't see in a desktop normally.
yeah,
So this is for $949. You're getting a pretty solid computer that, for most people, would be enough to run just about anything that's out there and run it well
yeah,
at 1080p.
yeah, yeah. This looks like it would be a great. I would try to sell this to one of my buddies and be like, "Hey, brother, won't you try this out?" And just to kind of get into it, get into gaming.
iBuyPower is an excellent PC building company, and
Hmm.
you can go over to their website and look around over there. But iBuyPower, I highly recommend them. I've been dealing with them for many years, and
Hmm.
they really build a very nice. When you get your PC, they actually build them as you order them. And when you get your
Okay.
PC, you go in there, and with Amazon, they probably have a few of these already pre-built. But normally, they will build it and get it sent out to you within 10 days. Uh,
Wow.
I'm sure with this being on Prime, that they have a few pre-built systems that they can send out right away.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to get into if you want a nice machine that will pretty much get you into PC gaming with no hassles whatsoever. The only thing that you're going to need with this is maybe your speakers. You can
Yeah.
get a nice set of speakers for less than $60 or $70. You already have a keyboard that comes with it. That keyboard you're probably going to want to replace down the road. You also have your mouse. So basically, you just get your speaker system,
And get
your
you a nice,
keyboard, and your mouse. You're good to go.
yeah, and get you a nice monitor.
And get yourself a decent monitor, at least
Yeah.
1080p.
Yeah. And you'll be good to go. That was good right there, John. This is definitely uh, a good way to get in. I agree. You still with us, Fred?
Yeah, I'm still.
No, I'm just messing with you. I know you over
But
there.
you can see there it has a nice window. You can look in it. It has
Yeah.
RGB lighting, which it would be
Yeah.
beautiful. It probably looks a lot better in person,
Yeah.
and that's actually glass. It's not plastic as far as that window is concerned.
Yeah. So I like that. So you say you have one of these, or you
Now,
had one?
I don't have one, but I've dealt with the company, and I know that I've had pre-built computers from them before.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know that it's a quality company, and they build quality components.
Cool. All right, folks. If you definitely want to avoid building it yourself and you're afraid, Mr. Quest, aka John, just showed you a good way of jumping into this wonderful world of PC gaming by buying you an PC that's already been built for you. Uh, that was cool. Thank you, John.
So the only other things that are major parts to this computer that we're building, we need to get a power supply.
Yeah.
Power supply.
We need a
Yes, sir.
power
Let me
supply.
let me share the screen. Uh, okay.
Now your power supply has got to match the needs of your computer.
Yeah, I
Correct.
learned. I learned that the hard way.
If your
On
computer,
my first build.
if you have components that overtax the power supply, it's going to cause problems and it's not going to run properly or not run at all.
Yeah, yeah, that happened to me. My first build, I maxed my power out, and thing was just cutting off on me. It's like, what's this thing doing? It turn on and turn off.
Mm.
I said, okay, what's going on? Let me go back, and I went back and I had a 500, I think, and I went back and bought me a 750, and I haven't had any problems since.
All right. So for me, I have in the big rig, I have 1,000 watt power supply in it because I'm planning on adding more graphics cards in there. So you don't necessarily have to go with 1,000 watts, like Mark said. Just when you're looking at the graphics card, you need to determine what recommended power supply that it needed. So I would go 100 watts over. So if the graphics card says that it needs a 650 power supply, I would just go a 750 power supply. That way you
Yeah,
don't run into any type of problems. And power supplies have came a long way from where initial builds used to be. Now this is called a Molex power supply. Now normally you would have all of these already going to your PC, and you would
mhm,
just have wires going from everywhere. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And you wouldn't have any space. These type of power supplies, you only hook up what you need, and they're color coded to tell you where they go. Like this one would be PCIe slots, so that would be mostly your graphics cards, and the
yeah,
rest of these would probably be like hard drives um, and optical drives if you choose to do that. But what's so good about these type of power supplies is, like I said, you don't have to have all those wires hooked up at one time, because that's going to make your system look like real crazy if it's an open air case. But if it's a closed case, even with that, all of that tangled wire would trap that heat inside, and you can get these power supplies. This one actually has a braided cable, and it looks so better, much better than the regular style cables that used to come like this. That's what we are
Yeah.
familiarized with.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
these cables would be all over the place and say, "Shut up, Google." Um, so you don't need all this. Depending on what type of build that you would need, you would have all these extra wires laying around. With these Molex builds or these power supplies, you don't have to worry about that because you don't hook up what you don't need.
Yeah.
And they're ranging from 500 watts all the way to 1500 watts. Um, and like I said, just future proof yourself, right? So if you know that you're getting into a build and you say, okay, I'm going to put two graphic cards in here, instead of getting the lower end power supply, just go ahead and bite the bullet and get what you need because when you don't want to get that second graphics card or you don't want to get that additional hard drive and then like Mark said your stuff be cutting off because you didn't want to spend that extra money. You have to invest in yourself. Anything that you plan on doing that you have to take serious, that you're taking serious, you need to invest in yourself. You want to go ahead and bite the bullet and then just make sure that you future proof. So you don't have to run back and say, "Oh well, dang, I got to buy another power supply." Now you
Yeah.
done wasted, let's say $80. You done waste the $80 because you can't take that to GameStop and trade it in, and you're gonna have to spend an additional 146 when you could have just spent that already. So what I'm
Yeah.
trying to you people that's watching this is just to future proof yourself. If you this is what I would do for y'all, right? Write a list of what you want in a PC. How many graphics cards you want, how big of a hard drive that you want, if you want an optical drive. Then you do your research, right? You okay, oh, I want two graphics cards in mine. Well, you can't get two graphics cards in there messing with a 750-watt power supply. It's going to be impossible. You're not going to be able
Hmm.
to run it. You know what I'm saying? Just get what you need and get it out the way. And these power supplies, they don't get outdated. So it may be another one that comes out next year that's another 1,000-watt supply, but that don't mean that you wasted your money because this one works as good as the one that came out 2 years after that. And it looks real good. I wish I can show y'all my system, and it looks real good because I have the 1,000-watt power supply, and I don't have all these cables hooked up, and they're actually hitting behind the case for the stuff that I do have hooked up. So just
Well, I got a quick picture for him so you
Well,
can kind of get
Fred,
it.
there's another thing too. If you get the highest power supply that you can, you're helping your neighbors because basically, when you turn your computer on, you're going to suck all of the energy into your house, and they're not going to be able to use their lights. So,
Hey, flip over here, and you can see kind of what he's saying with these type of It's about wire management nowadays. So you just don't want a lot of clutter in your cases. And the majority of these cases are open concept, so
Mhm.
people could see your beautiful, masterful work. So you don't want cables everywhere, and that's where we're going with this. So,
Mhm.
and this is kind of what we're talking about as you look at this. Uh, it ain't the prettiest case, but it's all about hiding your wires. So when people look inside, they're like, "Hey, man, it looks cool," you know. So this is kind of what it looks like, right, Fred?
Mhm.
Okay. And that power supply looks like it's the same. I think I can't really see it. It looks like you kind of jack them in. I don't know, but yeah,
I tell you, my PC is water cooled, and the only noise I hear from it normally would be when I turn it on and I hear the graphics card spinning up.
Mhm.
But that goes away. That goes away within 10 or 15 seconds, and it's just quiet the rest of the time. You don't hear it at all. It's just silent.
yeah,
So what
yes, sir.
I think the last thing that we have is memory.
Yeah, RAM.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ram.
So that's pretty much self-explanatory, you all. Um, let's just go back to. Let me share my screen again. We're just going to go back to the motherboard, and we're going to see what this motherboard will support. So, okay. So it's telling you that is you need DDR4 RAM, and you have 4 slots, right? 4 slots DDR4 RAM. All right. So let's just type in DDR RAM. There you go.
While Fred is doing that, you have to match up your RAM to your motherboard and your CPU. Those are the three things that must match up in order for everything to work. Your CPU, your motherboard, and your RAM.
Now I'm looking at this 16 gig kit now. And I like where this is going because it has that lighting in it. Now you don't necessarily have to get that. These LGB lightings is only if you want to display it. If you're putting your PC tucked somewhere under the desk, there's no need for you to get this type of lighting. A typical computer will run good off of 16 gigs of RAM. I'm running 16 gigs of RAM doing the stream. My gaming PC was running 16 gigs of RAM, but 16 RAM, 16 gigs of RAM is good. 32 is a lot better. So we have this. It's a two-kit RAM thing where you get, two was it 16 gig, two 8 gig sticks, right? When you're dealing with DDR4, when you go up in RAM, it's going to cost you a lot more. So hold on, this damn thing. So you just want to just how much initially you want to start with 16 gigs of RAM. That's what you want. 8 is going to boggle down because Windows. Damn, Google, shut up. 8 is going to just eat up your system. Just cross off at least 5 gigs of that because Windows 10 is going to take that. So you're left with the remaining of what you have. And 16 gigs is great, 32 is better, but you can get by with 16. 16 is not a bad thing. You have small factor ITX cases, which is in my gaming PC. That only has 2 RAM slots, and I'm running 16 gigs. I can't expand anymore unless they come out with the 32 gig chips. Then I can get it up to 64 gigs of RAM. So don't be confused because I'm throwing all these numbers at you. The most important thing that you want to remember is the type of RAM that needs to go in your system. DDR3, DDR4, DDR5, DDR7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You just want to match that up with the RAM that you're putting in there. And also, you want to make sure that it's ECC or non-ECC. And the difference between those two is that it does a system check. When your system boots up, the RAM, your computer does a system check of your RAM. And I think that's ECC RAM. And a lot of motherboards won't work if you don't put that type of RAM that you need in there. But that is usually in the manual. Um, I've never seen it on the description of it, so that it kind of tricks you a little bit. But once you get that, don't get your RAM unless you really know what that motherboard takes at first. Just get it after you get your motherboard and you see that it's ECC or non-ECC. So that's a very, very important thing that you need to know. And most RAM chips right here will tell you. Like this would probably be non-ECC right here. Just I'm just looking at it. And this would be ECC RAM. But it should let me click on it. Let me go up here and click on it. Because the RAM should give you a description of what it is. It's something I missed. Um, where's the detail?
Look like it's in the technical details. You're in there, but it doesn't say. You're going too far down now. We'll save that for another tutorial or something, brother.
All right. So just remember
Mm.
that the RAM type DDR3, DDR4. So
Mm.
I think we basically covered everything, didn't we?
I think so, man. I
Oh,
think that we have. Go ahead.
one more important thing: your keyboard and your mouse. So just get a good keyboard and mouse. Some people have bad experiences with wireless mouse, and some people don't. It's just your preference. It's depending on how much space that you have on your table. Just note that every device that you hook inside your computer consumes power. So if you're dealing with a wireless mouse, it draws. I think it actually draws more power than the wired mouse because it has that radio on it. So you just, I
Mm.
may be wrong, but you just want to take care of that. And one of the most important things that you need, and my body can tell you that you need this. It can tell you right now, a
What you
nice
gonna say?
gaming chair.
Oh
And
goodness.
this is dang, it actually went up. It was $84. Damn, man. No, oh yeah, it is. Price 89.
That thing
Uh,
has a something for your legs. What? Come
yeah,
on, man.
the joint come out, man. It's
The only
the
way your body gonna suffer from that is getting fat. That's what that is. Come on.
well, I'm sitting in a kitchen chair, and let me tell you, I got that. I actually Quest had actually gave me a gaming chair a couple of years ago, and in that gaming chair, Quest, do you remember it had that foam padding on it?
Right.
And that's what I'm using to sit in this kitchen chair. And let me tell you, an hour or two of streaming, I'm much older than I was a couple of years ago, and I'm telling you, I get up and it's like I'm doing the old man walk because I feel it all down here, bro. I feel it. You
Yeah.
definitely need a gaming chair, and I'm gonna get one, y'all. I'm gonna get one probably during the holiday season. I'm gonna see if it goes down a little bit more, but you definitely
Yeah.
need a gaming chair.
You know, I'm gonna tell you something. The funny thing is that I had the opportunity to buy one of these chairs back in. It's probably been about 4 years. I was looking into it, and I was seeing a lot of prices. 200, 300, 400, whatever. I chose not to go with one of these. I chose to go with an old fashioned leather memory foam chairman chair. One of those
Hmm.
chairs where you walk in the office and you know you're about to get fired because no one never goes in this guy's office.
Right.
And you know what I'm talking about, John, right? And the crazy thing about it is this chair is wonderful. Um, it doesn't look cool like that, but this chair is rated for 10 hours. And I can guarantee you, as much editing as YouTubers do,
Mm.
you need to get a chair that makes sense. Don't get me wrong. If you want, if you have a studio and you want a chair that fits your the way your studio is built and you want it to look good, these chairs are great. I know they have a lot of great chairs and they're comfortable. But if you're going to be doing editing and you're going to be doing a lot of work, invest in you maybe two chairs. Maybe have a chair that you do for your show and then on your streaming, and then have a chair that you use for when you're doing your editing and that because this chair has done wonders for my back. I was having a lot of back problems. Matter of fact, the chair I'm sitting in right now is only rated for a few hours,
Mm.
probably like 2.5, 3 hours. This chair is killing me right now. I mean, I can't can't get comfortable anymore. It looks good though. I mean, if I was to get out my chair and let y'all see, I'd be like, man, that looks awesome. But the chair I have in my room is great. So he's right. Choose your chair. Uh, take your time and pick the right chair and do your research because as you get older, and even if you're young, you're doing this work and you're sitting down all the time and you're always, doing this with your back, you're gonna start having back problems.
Yes.
And when you start having back problems, man, I promise you, you're gonna cry and you're gonna be in a lot of pain because once it starts that process, it's hard to kind of return that, I guess, rewind that damage that you've done. So spend that money on that chair. It's almost like a bed. You can't put a price on sleep and rest. Can't do it.
And I'm sitting on like the old Negro spirit church bus of seats.
No, no, we can't have it. We're gonna start a GoFund, Fred. We're gonna we're gonna make sure that we we gonna go go fund Fred Spine.
Oh my God.
We're gonna start doing a raffle, taking money for make sure we can get Fred. But I want to touch a little bit on the keyboard before we get ready to go because my back is killing me, and I'm starving. I'm always hungry. But keyboards, to me, what we didn't hit on is traditional versus mechanical. Mechanicals can be loud. I don't know if y'all can hear this,
Yes.
but this is let me be quiet. This is a mechanical keyboard that I'm using now. I have two of them. I love them to death, but they are loud. But response and when you're gaming, because again, you're building a gaming PC, you need to be mindful that if, your mouse and your keyboard can have a lot of say on how fast you are and your accuracy and things like that. So again, everything has a price point. Okay, if you're doing a low PC, then you're gonna go with low. You're not trying to just be too serious, but if you're gonna be serious, just make sure you're getting everything that you need, and don't try to skip out on certain things. Like you might believe that your keyboard and mouse is not that important, but we can guarantee you we could go probably talk a whole nother stream just on different type of mouse and mice and keyboard combos that would work great for shooters, work great for all different type of things, even for editing. So yeah, just be mindful of that. All of these things that we're talking about definitely have their place in creating you what would fit your needs as far as what you're trying to do as a gamer or a creator.
Now, if you're a hobbyist or if you do this on a professional side, that's depending on what you spend. If you're just going to be a casual gamer, you pick it up every once in a while. Like I fell in love with H1Z1, and that formed me to build another PC because the PC that I currently had at that time wasn't quite up to specs to run that game. And that
Mm.
build actually turned into three PC builds that I had. But if I wasn't a gamer and you just want to play a specific game, you don't need a high end game, a gaming rig. You want to play The Sims or something like that. You don't need a balls to the wall system. But if you want to get into stuff like Call of Duty or any other graphically intense games like that, you're going to need to spend some bread. You have to invest in yourself. And the I disagree on the the already built PC. That's good if you just starting out, right? You want to get a PC and it has everything that you need in it, right? The problem that I have with pre-built PCs, well, at that time, because I don't know what they're doing now, is that a lot of stuff that's on that motherboard and inside that console is proprietary, especially with Dell. When you buy something like Dell or Alienware, when you buy stuff like that, and let's say that your power supply conk out, well, you're going to have to go to them to get a power supply that you could have just gotten from Radio Shack if it's still one up there, Best Buy, Circuit City, or I know it ain't no more Circuit Cities, but Staples and stuff like that. A lot of these components you can get from Walmart. Now you're not going to get like, well, you have to order that online, but like you can walk inside the store and something goes wrong with your graphics cards and you can go in there and replace it. And I've had like one bare bones system, pre-built system that I got, and I tried to put it was a 1070 in it, and it wouldn't fit. But and the power supply didn't have the connection for that 1070 that I had. So if you're going to get a pre-built machine, you have to inspect that thoroughly. It's something that you can get when you start up. You just want to get into gaming, but as you go deeper into it, you're going to know that you're going to need more connections, more this, more that, more whatever. And just these pre-built, I'm not going to say all, but some of these pre-built PCs just don't live up to the spec of having these components. And the one thing, it would save you money because when you build your own PC, you know exactly what goes into it, and when a problem arises, you can diagnose it yourself. If you hire me to come to your house to do your PC, you're probably going to pay some bread for my traveling expense, for me diagnostic the PC, and then for the repair. You can build that PC yourself and you know what's going into your PC, so you're good. But if you all want to build a PC and you live in the DMV era and you're not comfortable, I mean, I have that service too. I can come out there and help you build your PC, put it together. It may take a couple of hours depending on what you have. You know what I'm saying? But when you get this stuff, you know what goes in it. You know what goes wrong. Okay, the power supply is bad. Let me replace that. Let me go to Micro Center. I know they got 1,000 watts power supply on tap. I can get that. Boom, boom, boom. You're right back into the gaming. With these pre-built PCs, some of them, you have to go back to the manufacturer. You have to wait for them to send you the hardware that you need to replace, or you have to undo your system and take it to a shop. It's just a lot of headache. So I see where Quest and Mark are coming from there. They're great. I think a pre-built PC is a great starter for you.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off that. I think exactly that's what we were talking about. Is that it's all based on how comfortable you are with computers. We could tell you we've all been there. We've all been uncomfortable with computers at some point. But you have to build up that confidence because it's nothing like building it yourself. No matter what you may want to believe, you could spend a lot of money, but if you do it like you just said, if you do it yourself, there's some satisfaction that comes with knowing that when you're looking at that rig and this light is lit up and it's beautiful, that you built that, and now your hands were in that. You every component, every LED light, every fan, everything that's in there, you put in there, and in most cases, you could also come out cheaper doing it that way. So if you see a pre-built that's at $1,200, we almost guarantee that you can go get one built for either the same price or a little bit lower. So, but again, pre-builds have their place. There's a place for them. When people don't want to deal with it and they just want something quick, or you're buying it for your kid and you don't want them to mess anything up, and you just want them to start PC gaming. So I agree with you, Fred. There's nothing like putting your hands in the box.
Well, a couple of things that I want to add is uh, for those who don't know, PC is not a console. It's a machine that is you're going to learn because if you put one together, or even if you buy one off the shelf, there's going to go something's going to go wrong with it.
No question.
It's just the way that PCs are. It doesn't mean it's going to be a problem, but something will go wrong. You might have a wrong driver. You might download the wrong thing.
Oh, don't I know it?
And all these things, you have two systems going on with a computer. You have the hardware side, and you have the software side. You can have a perfectly fine computer that has no problem with the hardware, but it gets jacked up because of the software that's on it.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing can hold true on the other side, but more than likely, if your machine starts having problems, more than likely it's a software problem. It's not a hardware problem.
Yeah.
So I say that to say that this is a wonderful, wonderful hobby. We all like our computers a little bit more than we like consoles. And I love consoles, but computers are fascinating. And they're very adaptable and modular. And they're just great to have. Not only can you game on it, you can work, you can pay your bills on it, you can do just about any. If you can conceive it, you can probably do it on a computer.
Yeah.
So, it's a wonderful device, and if you don't have one, this might be the time to get one. And that one that that we showed you, that's pre-built for those of you who don't want to go out and try building your first computer with the information that we gave you. Just pick up a nice pre-built system. Now, the one that I showed you from iBuyPower's computers, all their systems are off the shelf. Your power supply, your motherboards, there you can readily get those at Best Buy or Amazon. They're not proprietary, so
That's good to know.
you can it's a computer that someone else has gone in and built for you, where you don't have to go and do it. But I can guarantee you one thing: once you get it and something goes wrong or you want to upgrade it, you're going to have to go in, put whatever upgrades you want in it,
Hmm.
or exchange, put, if you want more lighting, if you want more fans, you already have it built, and all you have to do is go in and just plug the stuff in. That's all
Well,
you have to
that's one thing that we forgot to mention is your optical drive. Now, me, I have external Blu-ray drives. Most of your games are digitally downloaded, but you
Hmm.
do have some games that, like if you go flea market shopping, you do have some games that's on a
Wait, did
disc.
you just say flea market?
Yeah,
Hey, you so
Fantastico.
you
Oh,
so ghetto. Go ahead. You're just ghetto, sir. I'm not going to no freaking flea market. No, go
yeah,
ahead.
you make some. I've been to a flea market where I've seen Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, Sega 32X. So I mean, you can go there and you could possibly, or a thrift store may have some games, some older games that you might want to get
Oh,
into. And
yeah.
I would recommend getting one, just a USB. Um, it's not necessary, but a USB
Mm.
3.0, and just keep it, just in case you want to. I mean, if you want to watch a DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, you know what I'm saying. You'll have that option to have it, but you'll have it tucked away somewhere. And then the other thing that we forgot to mention was Windows 10. So Windows 10 being the operating system that's right now that you need. And Amazon is great. They can send you out one, or you can download it. And the total price for this build, for this massive build that I'm giving out to everybody, is $1,600. So a little under. Well, that's, I think that's before tax. But that's if you want to go balls to the walls, guys, and that includes everything except for the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse. Um,
That still sounds like a modest build, but yeah, that's cool
so
because
you,
it can get you know it can go a little higher than that
oh
if you
yeah,
get just stupid with it. But that seems modest. I like that 1600. That's a good place
16.
to
Let
be
me
for
share the
something that you
screen
know is going to play.
real quick.
Uh, is going to play most everything you want it to play. My wife never texts me back either. She must be mad at me. I don't know what I've done. Oh, she did text me. Damn.
So there you have it, guys. And hopefully I got everything in here. I have the operating system now. Um, you can get the operating system for $100, and that will be mailed out to you. But I just say, spend a couple of more extra dollars and just get the downloaded version. For those who don't have a good enough PC to download this, at least when you buy it, you have it in your inventory, and then you can just download it over somebody else's house and get it and put it on the flash drive and do what you need to do. But we have the operating system, which you definitely need, unless you're going with Linux or something like that. We have the i5 processor. I recommend the i7. It's a lot better, in my opinion. We have the RAM, the power supply, the hard drive. I recommend the M.2 drive just for your operating system. The motherboard, the cooler, the chassis or the case, and most important, so your butt won't be mad at you, is a good gaming chair. And
All
that's
that
it.
for 1600.
Everything for 1600.
That ain't bad, man. That's not bad at all.
And I think that's before taxes. And you'll be good to go. You would definitely be good to go, man.
Yeah.
Um, and that's about it.
All right, we'll
So
make sure that we're going to put these links in the description
yes,
for all of this that way. And again, like Fred was saying, these are affiliate links. So this goes, if you guys use those links, it will help out the show. And yeah, we appreciate y'all coming by. Fred, I know you're probably going to sum this up, but I just wanted to let everybody know that as a PC gamer, I think I speak for all the guys here. We believe that gaming. I know I do. I believe that PC gaming is the next level, and when you start talking about gaming on the next level, that comes with spending money on the next level. There's thousands of games that are waiting for you to explore and play and have fun. So we look forward to seeing some of you guys come join us in some of these communities and play some PC games. And if you want to talk about this even more, please leave comments and let's discuss this. We could help you guys out, or you could help us out if there's something we missed.
All right, there's one more thing that I have to do because hold up, give me a second, y'all. There's something that I didn't do at the beginning of the stream, and
Jesus.
that's why I didn't hear any. Oh, yeah, there's the daggone audio right there. All
Fred, you don't
right.
work on weekends, do you? I mean, I'm sorry, Quest.
What was that?
You don't work on weekends, do you?
No.
All right. Because after I eat, I think I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah.
No
Yes. Well,
problem.
I got this tire situation I got to take care of.
Because I'm sitting over here yawning already. I've been up since 5 this morning, so I'm like, man, I
It's
already know once
almost
I eat, I'm
11:30. It's almost 11:30 now. So
Oh,
yeah, it's
we
10:30 here, so we might have to hook up tomorrow and get a game in, um, get some VR in because I need to turn my system on and get everything up to date.
I'm gonna try to take this card out and see if that's going to do the problem. If not, then I may just have to wipe my system. But the good thing is that all those games are on a different hard drive, and there's really nothing on that gaming PC side. So I mean,
You gonna try a restore?
yeah, I'm gonna try to do it to restore. Hey, if you, oh, never mind. Um, yeah, I'm gonna try to do a system restore or system repair.
now that is a 1080 graphics card, right?
Yeah, that one's
What
hooked
you
up.
want to do, Fred, is download the GeForce Experience.
Yeah, that's what I had on it because I got the G4 experience on this streaming PC and my other one, and it's just when I restarted it, it just gave me that FLT code, which everything is on there. My whole
Well, that GeForce Experience should read your graphics card and your computer and download the right drivers for it.
Hmm.
I just got to get into safe mode to see if I can just finagle that. Windows 10 is just so trippy, man. Um,
Well, the big thing you can't go into safe mode if you can't boot it up.
yeah, see that's the only thing. Just treat your computers right. If not,
Yeah,
ooh,
you'll
you're
get a
gonna
virus or something, shut you down.
you're
So,
gonna have a problem.
all right, fellas, we need to get ready to go ahead and wind this on out and check it on out.
All right,
Um,
y'all. I hope this was informative to you all. Uh, I'd like to thank Quest and Mark for coming back in. And we do this every Friday. It's just certain times when we all get together. You know what I'm saying? So it's not in time stamped in stone. But the good thing is that if you're watching this on Periscope or Mixer or any other channels that I'm streaming on, that you can always go back and rewatch the broadcast. So if you miss anything, you need something, need to watch it again, you can go back and do that. And the YouTube link will have all the information on it. I'm gonna try to put it on the Periscope and the Mixer, but I have limited characters that I can do that with. But we'll probably stream tomorrow, man. And OBS is, I don't know what's going on with this. I'm spiking and all this other stuff.
yeah, hey, we need to get back on that. What was it, H1Z1 or whatever
Yeah.
that was? We were having some fun on that, man.
Oh yeah, you was murking them, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get back on that, man. I want to dominate. You heard? So let's get some gaming in, man. I don't have too much going on. I think my wife got a few honeydews, and then after that we can get it going, man. So let's stream some stuff tomorrow.
All right, I'm gonna get this tire situated, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that tonight.
Well, you guys have a good night. Mark tomorrow if you want to give me a call.
Yeah, definitely. I'll touch base with you. That way we can do that whole VR thing, and hopefully Fred will be ready to go, man. Fred, do what you do, man. Get that computer back to
What's
Yes.
up,
healthy
Eric?
state, man.
Go to, well, you already missed it, Eric. Go to the YouTube side. What's up, Sean? Um, yeah, man. So yeah, this was we was chopping it up pretty good today, man. Covered a lot of stuff. Hope it was very informative again. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Hey Eric, if you are off tomorrow, man, join us in H1Z1. Um, go ahead and download that joint. The joint free, and then you can get in here with Mark and Quest. And but fellas, I'm gonna just go ahead and close the stream, and then I'm gonna come back in on this side. All right, y'all.
Okay, night, guys.
All right, man. I'm about to check out and get this food.